Enter into the dangerous dungeons of myth as a mighty hero and stand against the darkness. Visit the Myth Hub on beastsofwar.com and begin your story. From Viking halls to the cities of the future, terrain buffs will love our foreground hub. Watch gaming tables of all genres come to life at beastsofwar.com.
Hi everybody, welcome to What's in the Box. Myself and John have sat down and it's time for a look at some Konflikt.
Yes, and in particular some weird stuff as well.
Yes.
So in this unboxing we're going to be checking out the Schreckwulfen.
Schreckwulfen?
You have to say it with an authoritarian voice.
Fine. Schreckwulfen.
Schreckwulfen! So we have the Schreckwulfen and the Nachtjager.
Nachtjager, okay.
Now I'm pretty sure that Warren's going to like the Nachtjager.
Night Hunter, yeah?
Yes, pretty much. And because he's been so obsessed with painting his little German tanks in that god-awful silver that makes me twitch, I have a feeling he's going to like the Nachtjager in this.
So, Schreckwulfen, what's Shrek? And don't say the big green guy.
It's all ogre now. I've been rumbled.
Ouch.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I can't really literally translate Schreckwulfen. I think it's basically, it's like shock wolf or assault wolf or something. Okay. Something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, like we had Panzer Shrek. And
yeah, the
Faust,
Panzer Shrek and Panzer Faust. But
so I know Faust is fist, yeah?
Yes.
So yeah, Shrek probably means assault.
So we're checking out the Schreckwulfen first.
Schreckwulfen first, yes. Okay. Because who doesn't love big nasty werewolves in their games of Weird World War?
Yep. And the fluff in these guys, and I love this because the first line of it's brilliant. Less controversial than the animated corpse program.
Okay.
The Soldier Enhancement Division at Dresden has worked tirelessly to enhance German soldiers with the DNA of animals to radically improve their fighting ability. Well, crossing them with wolves would probably do that, and how much more German did they need to get when they picked wolves and they like, this is amazing. We could send them over to hang out with Hitler at the Wolf Slayer and everything will be amazing.
No.
It's like a meme that writes itself.
I am actually waiting to see what happens with the upper echelons of German command in this. What sort of stories we're going to see from it.
It could be interesting.
It could be very interesting.
So these are the results of the DNA program.
Okay, DNA splicing, I assume.
Yeah, this is all that early DNA tech that you know, even during the war they were sort of going, there's something else going on here, and you know they had a huge genetics department looking at all sorts of backgrounds and stuff. Yeah, which we all know where that went.
Yes. Well, let's jump straight into the miniatures, shall we?
Let's have a look.
So our first Wulfen. Yeah, is very aggressive looking, arms out, ready just to, you know, just have a come and go if you think you're hard enough. Look at him. Yep. We have another one in more of a howling pose.
He's not even got his maw open though. He's just he's again just
sniffing the air.
He's very angry.
Sniffing the air. We then have the legs of our next one. Yep. Which is knelt down, perhaps ready to pounce. Yep. And hey, he's wearing a mask.
He has a gas mask. And it looks amazing.
Now, you see this, I would imagine perhaps something went wrong with the gene splicing and his sense of smell is maybe heightened a little bit too much.
Well...
So that's maybe a bit of protective gear so that he can actually fight.
Well, fair enough. Or maybe he just can't see so well in the dark.
Well, I don't know. Let's see. We've got the claws here as well. Mm-hmm. Another pair of claws. So there's not really a lot to put together on these, and then another really nicely done claw. I love the fur detail that they've done on these. Yes. And it looks as if they're wearing fingerless gloves with knuckle dusters built in.
Oh, that's awesome. Right, so the Schreckwulfen, they are 60 points veteran. Okay. That's it. They can only be veteran. Okay. Obviously, because their animal instinct is kicking in.
Is it just a 3-man unit, or can we go bigger?
No, it's... yes, you can have up to 6.
6, okay, 6 of these.
3 of them is 60 points, 20 points per additional.
Okay, so 120 points max unit.
For a full unit.
Any upgrades?
Nope. Okay. They are large infantry.
Okay, so that means if they're in a transport, they take up 2 slots.
They cause horror.
Okay, we know what that does from the totem core.
It's a -1 to the
If you're taking a leadership test
rolls.
within 6, you gain an additional -1.
Yep, okay. They're fast.
Okay, that means they're moving, I think...
They can run 16 inches, right?
Yeah, I think they're moving 8 base.
Yeah, 8
and
base
running 16. So these things are going to get up into your grill really quick.
Yep, they also have tough.
Tough, I'm assuming that's going to be the 5-up save.
Mm-hmm. Tooth and claw.
Okay, now that is an interesting one, because as soon as they get into melee, they're getting 3 attacks each. So 6 of these, 3 attacks each. What's that? 18 attacks.
Yeah.
That's pretty scary for a small, fast unit.
Yep. And they also have IR vision.
IR vision, that just means they don't get really affected by night.
Yep.
Okay? Right, let's get on to...
The Nachtjager.
Yes, the Night Hunters. Is this another gene splicing program?
Let's have a look. Currently the pinnacle of the Soldier Enhancement Division, the Nachtjager is no longer truly human, with the DNA of reptiles, bats, and alligators merged into a horrific creation. Well, that certainly sounds about right.
Okay, so one of the actual scientists just went, Margarita time.
Yeah, pretty much. No one knows if the subjects of this program are volunteers.
Oh.
Ooh, dark, sinister side to it. I like that.
Yeah.
The very existence of Nachtjager alters Allied planning, and reports of their presence are always taken seriously by intelligence staff.
So I'm guessing these are really, really scary.
They must be.
Okay, so you're getting 2 in the actual blister. So, big faceless demon thing.
Yeah, anything without a face that just has a maw is terrifying to me.
Yeah, so you're getting 2 poses in the box. How many in the unit?
You can have 2 base unit, but you can have up to 4.
Okay, so I would suggest bringing it up to the 4. You've then got the wings. So, do these fly?
Yes, they do actually.
And this one has actually ripped off some poor guy's head.
Some poor American head. Yep.
Okay. The details are fantastic. They look as if they're going to go together really well. The actual joints on them have a nice little plug slot system on the go. So they're really going to be easy to put together and stay together nice and firmly.
If you really want to, I would still suggest pinning them.
Really?
Yeah, because you're still working with metal parts that are fairly heavy that are hanging off those 2 joints on the shoulders. So if you really want to, you'd pin them.
Okay. Right, special rules wise, what have we got?
Right, special rules. Again, large infantry, cause horror, have flight.
Okay, so flight, if I remember correctly...
They can jump 12 inches.
Yeah, their run is 12 inches with flight, and I think their standard move is 8. So they don't double on the movement, but what they can do is ignore all intervening terrain, although they can't actually land in impassable terrain.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, so after flight they have tooth and claw, like the
Yep, so 3 attacks each.
Yep. They're tough, like the Schreckwulfen, IR vision, like the Schreckwulfen, and they are strong.
Strong, I believe, is for whenever they're actually fighting vehicles. So I believe it gives them a pen +1 on their standard attacks, but if they're in close combat with a vehicle, they actually do +2. Okay. And I believe that also gives them tank hunters, which means if they actually do damage a vehicle, it's not superficial, it's actual damage on the chart.
You ignore the superficial and go straight onto the main damage chart.
Sorry,
He's trying to remember it as we go along.
Yeah.
So they're pretty straightforward model-wise. They're pretty straightforward rules-wise as well, I'd say. Small units, so like 4 of them at a time. That's pretty cool.
Actually, I would run these in small units of 2.
Would you?
Yes, because then they're a small team. And
do they count as a small team when they are large infantry?
Okay, that's one they actually asked the creators. So guys, get your questions and comments in below for that one. I would say yes, small team would count because it is just 2 guys.
It's 2 guys ducking and diving. And,
so I would say possibly it would, and I'm sure if it actually didn't count, there would be a special rule on there to tell us that it wouldn't.
Possibly, yeah.
You know, but that's the way I would do it, because these things, well, I tell you what, we'll actually take a break. I'll send you away to build and prime these, and then we'll talk tactics, okay? So we'll be back in a sec. Okay, we are back, and John, you've got them built up. How'd they go together?
The Wolfen, I was a little bit confused with the claws, but I got there eventually. It wasn't any big deal.
So are the hands actually paired to a body? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I may not have paired them correctly, so forgive me on that one.
Okay. Well, let's jump straight in. So we have our Wolfen number 1 here.
Yes.
Who's, I don't know. It looks as if he's giving a bit of a speech. Ah, brothers, it is time to kill them all. Yeah.
We are going to Wolfen many Shreks.
Wolfen many Shreks, yes. They shall Schreckwulfen.
Yes.
Or no, Wolfen Shrek. We have our guy who's sort of charging forward. I love this pose. It looks really, really nice and dynamic.
It's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have our last guy, who is a little bit more hulking, a little bit more, you know, I'm coming to get you.
He's very predatory looking, yeah.
Yes. Or doing the 3 little pigs. Let me in, little pigs.
The 3 little Wolfen.
The 3 little Wolfen. Bedtime story for the ages.
Yeah.
Well, tactics for these.
Right, well, I'm going to have a look over the rules again.
Yeah.
These guys are pretty much the infantry killer.
Yeah.
I would say so anyway. I mean, you're getting 6 of them in a unit for 120 points.
They're really fast to get across the table really well.
Yep. They don't have strong unlike the Nachtjager, so the Nachtjager are going to be your vehicle specialists, but these guys are your mass infantry problem solvers.
How much are they for a full unit? 120?
120.
I would actually take 2 units of these.
Yeah.
For one very simple reason. Because they're fast, I can place them on both my flanks, have them both charging up, meaning you need to split your fire to deal with them.
Yeah.
So actually force you to deal with them. Well, at least one of them's going to get there. And once they get there, they're just going to chew the hell out of your back lines.
Yeah. They'll probably not do too badly against open-top vehicles either as well, I'd say, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So your Jeeps, for example, your little Jeeps, will tear those apart.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Jeeps are going to be something that's going to be a lot more effective in both bolt action and this. Just now that I'm looking at them a lot closer, because I hadn't really considered them before.
Yeah.
But moving on to
the Nachtjager.
Yeah. Now these are not large infantry, I'm guessing.
Yes, they are.
They are.
These are both large infantry.
Okay. Now that to me is odd because these guys are actually on a small base.
But they are big guys, though.
They are big guys, though. I'm wondering why that choice was made in the design studio.
I would say they're large infantry because of the bulk of their wings and their height.
Yeah. Although, do you ever imagine these would actually jump into a transport whenever they can just fly wherever they want?
Maybe they don't want to fly everywhere they want. Maybe they want to like put their claws up and have a beer in between ripping people's heads off.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I like the poses on them. They're very, very aggressive looking. As to tactics in game, as I was saying before the break, I'm going to keep these as 2-man units for a very simple reason. They'll be harder to hit, and with all that flying and stuff, I would even send these against infantry. Do you know why? Say I have a building here on the table.
Okay.
My Nachtjager are here. Your British are here.
Yeah, you can just ignore that tree and hop over and give them something to think about.
Yeah, actually jump over and get into combat. I don't know if you need line of sight before charging into combat though, so I need to double check that before trying that tactic.
Possibly do. Well, we don't know, but these are the vehicle harassing units.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if you can imagine a couple of these going after, say, my Coyote or my Grizzly.
They're going after the hatches and pulling things off.
Reaching in and pulling out the yummy gooey goodness that is a poor guy inside.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it's nice to have some weirdness in the forces. I like the way they're going with it.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that it sort of blends into the German ethos that we're seeing in this world of, right, let's just have some fun with this and splice everything in we can.
It's working with the whole, the old German mythology kind of stuff, because like you have like all these mythical beasts that come across from European
folklore.
Myth and folklore,
yeah.
And obviously the Germans will pick the ones that they like. So like bats are cool in Germany and wolves are cool in Germany. So they're going to work on that sort of stuff. Yeah.
That and whenever we actually see the Russian stuff coming out, I've been having a read ahead into the Russian and British forces.
Yeah.
The Russians get an Ursus unit. So they've went for their own splicing stuff where it's actually, Soviet bear soldiers, which is just cool sounding.
I don't want to see British soldiers pretending to be teacups, though.
I don't know. You see, they actually get an automaton set.
Yeah, they do, which is very, very cool, and I can't wait to
So I would
look at
actually perhaps do the helmets as a tea set. Just for a giggle.
Robotic Beauty and the Beast. That's just unusual.
All right. Anyway, that's our thoughts on these guys. I think the weirdness is fantastic. I think there's enough of it to make it flavorful and not too much of it to make it silly.
But there's enough of it to choose if you really want to run the very weird stuff, or like what I want to do is run the heavy infantry, the up-tacked stuff rather than just the outright odd.
Yeah, so you can choose which sort of tack tree you're going down.
Yeah, pretty much. I like that, yeah.
All right, well, guys, tell you what, drop us your comments below. Tell us, are you going to be using these in your games? Have you perhaps proxied them and had a chance to use them yet? We'll move on here, and we'll see you in the next video.
In a world controlled by massive corporations, a steady aim and split-second decisions are needed for your megacon to complete its goals. Begin your missions at the Mercs Hub on beastofwar.com. Keep your blaster handy, the West is a dangerous place. Fight to survive as men turn to monsters and the dead rise on the Wild West Exodus Hub at beastofwar.com.